hates you. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Ken. It's Dave Kalin,
Hey, Dave. What's
candidate
going on?
for Supervisor of Elections. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Well, you kind of look at it. It's at every level of the government. We've got to get the people re-engaged in our political system to realize that both parties are working against us to keep themselves in that position of power and authority. Last night, we had a hearing at the Charlotte County Commission chambers about a tax increase. It's an assessment. And while it's a controversial one about the fire department, there was nothing transparent about it. There was well over 1,500 to 2,000 people that wanted to be there. We couldn't meet in the commissioners' chambers. They packed the room with firefighters so that most other folks couldn't sit in that room. My wife's deaf, hearing impaired. She didn't even have a TV out there that she could watch with closed caption on it. So it's just one of those steps to keep the voters confused, in the dark, and it happens at every level. And we, the people, need to re-engage.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And if elected, are you going to do something about this crap of a Supervisor of Elections website? What the hell's happened to this? It's still under construction. How many? I can't even look at who's filed to run on this page this morning because she's got it so screwed up. We need to get the clerk of the court's office in there because they seem to know what they're doing when they want to get a website running and up to snuff. She apparently, that's what you get. Again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. This is what you get with political appointments, a bunch of screw-ups.
Absolutely. And, my hat's off to Roger for what he's done to be able to streamline that office.
Yeah.
He's got a strong IT background, as do I. You can set your website up. You can be out there beta testing, running through it without ever going live. You had an operational one. While it wasn't that great, leave it operational. Get your new one operational. Have your workers, have individuals getting into it to make sure everything works before you go live with it. Our website, as an SOE, should be streamlined. And given the population density we have with our older generation, it should be large and easy.
Yeah,
it should be pretty much a ticker tape parade for them that all they got to do is click and go and should not have to hunt for anything. And again, that comes down to transparency too. Transparency in government is gone. And, trying to hide what people are paying on their taxes or trying to hide who's donated to whose campaign, it might not be intentional, but it gives the appearance of.
True.
And that is why we've got to be above reproach as an elected official, 100% transparent. And, again, that's why my personal phone number is out there. Anybody wants to know what's going on with your elected official, they shouldn't be getting a staffer that never calls back. They should be getting the elected official they put in that office and say, hey, we have an issue. Help me here, and have that conversation. That is why my personal phone number is out there for everyone to see.
All right, Dave, take us back to the meeting last night. I would imagine now. I watched the video of the workshop that happened earlier in the month prior to the meeting last night, and why? Now, if I don't know if you did, but what was the general feeling? I mean, because I understand the different parcels are different, but for my house, my bill has only gone up $54. So you're looking at about 13 cents a day. Right. And this money isn't being used to give raises to firefighters. It's to hire more firefighters so that they can meet the national average of response times. And people were still pissed about that?
The problem is they took a cookie-cutter approach. Rather than to think, okay, the bulk of Charlotte County was originally a farming community, so we still have massive acreage throughout the county that is a farm. Multiple farms, myself as a farmer. I own just about 10 acres that's farm, and then I lease over 100 other acres, and much of that I pay the taxes on. So when you hit a farmer with this per parcel tax, and oftentimes farms are broke up into 40, 50, 60, 80 parcels, you're getting hit with each one of those. And what it does, for me, I'm looking at a $15,000 a year increase in costs. So rather than look at it as a per individual or per property as a whole. It's pieced out, which gives them a higher tax base by the way they're doing it. So there is a means for them through this to change it so that farms could file for the exemption that we would pay once, but instead we're going to pay for multiple lots.
Yeah, they're screwing you. Well, we got an election year coming up. In the workshop, the only one that was asking, the only one that I saw was asking for any accountability. And after we give you this money, we want to make sure that you're actually meeting these response times, because I guess the national average is what, like a minute 30.
Right.
And Charlotte County wasn't meeting the minute 30. So at first blush, you might say, well, okay, they're using this money to hire more people so that they can meet these response times, so less of these old retirees will vapor lock before the EMTs get there. And that I understand. And I agree with Commissioner Teseo in demanding some accountability to make sure that the money was used properly and that these guys are meeting the national standard for response times. At the same time, I get where you people with large parcels are coming from. They seem to be screwing you for something that might not ever affect you.
Absolutely, and I agree with the accountability. Whether it's this or any other tax dollar, whether it's our annual ad valorem taxes, we should have the same scrutiny on it, because when you look at governments across the board, you see it in so many of our major cities with the waste. The joke is always the $10,000 hammer. And that's what happens when you put a government entity in charge of bidding a system out, is friends of friends tend to get the bids. The prices tend to be a little higher. It seems to what happens when you're running it through the government. If it was run like a business, you come back to Donald Trump saying our government's bloated. We need to run it like a business. Well, it should be run like a business. But the problem is with government is it's other people's money. So there's really not that big concern like it would be if it was your own money. Because I guarantee if their pockets were being fleeced the same way, they'd be very upset. And so there has to be that accountability at every level. And you know what, as an elected official, I would be welcoming that oversight to ensure that the people with what was happening and that it was 100% transparent. The moment you try to be a little quiet, try to cover it up a little bit, whether there is or there isn't something going on, it raises questions.
Yeah. Did they give a total?
You end up with the masses of people last night.
Did they give a total of what they expect just this tax increase is going to give them revenue-wise?
I believe right around $40 million.
All right. Well, we've given them enough money to, they're taking enough money from us to hire more firemen. Next budget cycle, unless they have got those response times down, people from the fire department need to just shut the hell up if that's the case.
I agree. And there's ways to streamline the fire department as well to make them more efficient. And that's where you start looking at how can we do it better with what we have, and then continue to slowly build that process to ensure that we have the cover.
I agree with that, but we're not static in our population. Our population's growing, so I do understand why they need more money. But at the same time, with our population growth, is going to come those property taxes, which is going to give them an increase anyway.
Yep. Well, and that's where a lot of folks where we believe that as you build out and add homes, it's going to create more tax base. But when you're generating bedrooms, that residential revenue, the cost versus the benefit as the taxation, they're not equal.
Yeah.
As you add more bedrooms, more people, you're adding more teachers, more schools, more buses. You're adding more firefighters, more police. So everybody else needs a piece of that same pie as you're expanding out. And when you're throwing in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 homes at a shot in the community, you quickly exceed what your tax obligation is. You're not able to sustain it, and that's why you need other sources of revenue, whether it be generating the business within that's going to help create those tax dollars through sales tax revenue and other means, gas tax, other things to help maintain that infrastructure. And our developers coming in, I look at when I was running for commissioner last year, I was kind of arguing about the impact fees. And when you have a low impact fee, that's good for the individual home builder, the mom and pop that wants to put a house on the acreage they own. But it's bad in the sense of the large builder who's coming in with thousands of homes that is generating phenomenal amount of revenue for themselves, and everything else is being dumped on the soon-to-be buyer. That's where we need to really look at this, how you're taxing on these impact fees, whereas the large builders are going to have to pay, I say, a different type of fee or a higher impact fee when they're coming in with these subdivisions of over 100 homes, 500 homes, whatever it may be, so that they are genuinely paying for the infrastructure that they're going to be utilizing for what they're developing.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know. When you look at what we have for the Board of Commissioners, you're either a realtor or you're a builder. Some of them are both. So when you have the very people that are profiting off of this business model that's currently going on, you get what we have.
Yeah. Hey, I got to roll. Dave, thank you much. Dave Kalin, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on News Radio